7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Greetings and welcome to season 4 of IFB at Definitely Broadcasting. I'm New York Pete, and this is my best friend Chris, the Tipsy Toaster. We want to thank you for tuning in into our, news and pop culture. Yeah, tuning in.
Hang on.
Right. Yeah, good.
We're toned in.
That's right. Yep. All right. So, hey, it's our news and pop culture sci-fi entertainment channel. Full disclosure. Chris and I, the Tipsy Toaster, grew up on 70s, 80s TV, movies, comics, cartoons. We're big Battlestar Galactica fans, so welcome to our corner of the universe. And we want to just start this with a little word about the passing of Colonel Terry Carter. May he rest in peace. I had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. One at a convention that I got to know him really well, and I'd read the official Galactica scrapbook, and so I had a few tidbits of his background, and it helped me open up a conversation with him, and it was really cool to talk to him about some of the things he had done and accomplished, and really, really nice man. As a matter of fact, he actually had attended St. John's University Law School for a small amount of time before he decided to turn into his career into acting. And so that whole idea of going to law school, I had attended St. John's myself, and so that was a means for us to find common ground. And really, really nice man. I don't know. It's a loss when you lose people that are really nice and enjoy what they do, and had really, really in-depth stories, because he knew Glenn Larson very well, and Glenn had put him on a lot of various shows because he's a talented individual, and we all loved him as Colonel Ty, plus all the other things he'd been on. So anytime I'd see him afterwards, I was like, oh, there he is, Terry Carter. And it was even greater when I met the guy and found out that he's a really, really, really cool dude. Just like many of our, actors that we follow and we enjoy watching and enjoy their work. Many of them are really, really nice people and know their craft, but also are fans. And, like I said, Terry Carter, really nice guy, rest in peace. And it's inevitable, as Tipsy Toaster would say, we all have an expiration date, regardless of, what we may think, but, you live it to the best of your ability. And that's pretty much it. You'll see that we were scrolling through Terry Carter, Colonel Ty's extensive
career
accomplishments.
Huge,
yeah, really, really nice guy. So anyway, that being said, that's why I'm wearing my Galactica shirt, and there he is. There he is, right over there. Boom. Anyway, Colonel Ty. Chris.
Yep. So it's that time. We like to toast the fans. So what do you got tonight, Pete?
I'm actually drinking a Stella Artois. It's a European cider.
Budweiser's going to find out. Budweiser's going to find out.
Yeah, well, they can find out, and they can sign that dotted line and send us a check. How about that? We invite you guys.
Actually, I'm going to head over to Two Silos tomorrow tomorrow evening and see if they're going to sponsor some beer with us. So we'd done a couple of their beers already. So, but tonight, I have another one of those weird special beers.
Oh my God!
Ready for this one?
Yeah.
I always try to find the interesting ones, and this one is definitely no different. We are having Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
That's weird,
Chocolate
man.
peanut butter porter. And according to the back, it says, do you like chocolate and peanut butter, but hate that pesky chewing? Give your teeth a vacation with our rich, full-bodied chocolate peanut butter porter. If candy and beer had a beautiful liquid baby, this would be it. Evil Genius Brewing Company. And
oh man, they should give us. We should be
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Ah, geez. That's 6 or 8? That's 6.7. Thank goodness. 6.7%.
All right. Well, enjoy it.
So,
cool.
Ready? Open up.
Yeah, I am ready. So 1, 2, 3. I hope it doesn't explode. And I'm drinking out of the Galactica glass, the Commander Adama one, and unfortunately, Colonel Ty's not on it. But
got my custom Blue Squadron.
Yes, of course you do.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Come on.
You want to hear it or do you want to see it?
Oh, what does it smell like?
It's not as dark as I thought it was going to be. It's definitely a lighter color.
Paul says he's drinking a strawberry Dr. Pepper. Paul, no. Let me see. Somebody else said something. Kim Harm says, I'm drinking sparkling bourbon.
Ooh. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Okay, so what does it smell like? Oh, boy.
Definitely has a peanut butter smell to it. And let's do the light test. It doesn't look as dark as my soul, so that's unfortunate. We try to do that. But we have a light test. We'll do the light. Light test.
Light test.
I got my light there. Yep, it's still a amberish, dark amber colored. Not quite. Still have light through it, so you can't see me through it, but you can see light through it. So it's getting close. It's getting close to the. You can see me. You can't see me through.
No, I can't. Okay. Shane says, Shane, thank you for joining us, Shane. He says he loves the glass. I'm assuming he's talking about mine. So yeah, it's cool glass. Anyway, whatever.
So anyways, we always toast to the fans out there because it's so important that we recognize that none of these movies or shows would be anywhere without the fans, including it wouldn't be as fun. This channel would not be as fun without the fans, and we would never got together. Pete, that was right the first time. Pete and I would have never gotten together if it wasn't for a fandom that we loved so much. And we know that many of you have met us and talked to us, and we really appreciate the support that you have, either physical or monetary or just whatever it may be. You're amazing people. Fans are amazing people, and they're the ones that make things happen. So we always say, fans fuel
the fleet. Here's to you and to Terry Carter.
May you rest in peace.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's good.
Wow.
That's very good. Tell me.
Wow. Okay.
Tell me.
It's not acidic. There's not like, have a beer burn to it. There's like a beer. Yeah. There's no acidic to it whatsoever. It's not flat. It's not flat, but almost.
Does it taste like chocolate and peanut butter?
It does taste like chocolate and peanut butter. Quite a bit.
That's not cool.
You could say this is as close to a Reese's peanut butter cup that I've ever come to a drink. Hear what? Alcoholic drink.
That's just bizarre. All right.
It's
look.
Really good. I'm enjoying it.
Us. Good. Chuck's with us. Paul's with us. Bert Oliver's with us. Thank you. I'm listening to your book. Kim Harms, of course. And let's see, Rob Baum, Charlene, Chris Laskowski from Australia is watching. And I don't want to miss anybody. Linda Russell, thank you for joining us, Linda. Let's see, Joanne is with us. Thank you for joining. Dave Francoeur, our good friend Dave, he's drinking out of a Battlestar Galactica mug. Let's see, John 1, of course, is with us. Thank you, John, as always. And let me see, I don't want to miss anybody else. Try to catch all of you. 501st Legion, Empire City Garrison is watching. Of course, we have our Star Wars update with the commander himself. And Dorian, award-winning sci-fi author, very good friend of ours, supporter. Dorian Keys is with us. Clayton, move the light like a Cylon eye. That's what he was saying when you were doing your, I think, Steve McCormick. Susan's with us. Thank you, Susan, for joining us. Thanks, everybody. If you come up and you just put a little something up, we like to recognize everybody that comes on live. Thank you, everybody, for watching us later. Sometimes we are pleasantly surprised to see that thousands of you watch us later. Thank you. So we have the commander of the Empire City Garrison, and that's, of course, the 501st Legion's ECG commander, Chris Feehan, and he's going to give us the Star Wars update and then some. So, Chris, welcome to IFB. Thank you for taking the time out. Why don't you jump into that Star Wars stuff, man? Everybody's anxious to know.
Absolutely. We're only a week away from May the 4th, so there's a lot of stuff going on in the Star Wars universe. Let me jump right in with what's going on television. We have the Bad Batch Season 3 is now up to episode 14, so there's only a couple of episodes left until the big finale. Everybody's very excited about that and trying to catch up on the Bad Batch. We have Visions, the second season, finished airing. Young Jedi Adventures, I believe there's still 2 or 3 episodes left of that, but that's a great way to get kids interested in the show. But into Star Wars itself, but the big news was that the Acolyte finally has a release date and a trailer. And if you haven't seen it already, the Acolyte trailer was very exciting. A lot of Jedi action. Carrie-Anne Moss from The Matrix looked kick-ass in the trailer. They really didn't show too much, but it was enough to get people excited. And people already, on the Rebel Legion side, already working on costumes, and folks on the 501st side looking at some of the costumes and already starting to analyze them and see what they can come up with.
Still no Jar Jar.
Still no Jar Jar, thank God.
Boo!
But it's exciting that there is a new series debuting that we really, really know very little about. So it's going to be exciting to see how it plays out and see if it is going to live up to the hype and see if it's everything that people have been wanting, which is more an in-depth look at the Jedi and like the rise of the Sith. So we'll see how this plays out. We'll see how that show is accepted by the fans or not. It's coming out June. Let me just double check. I think the release date is June 4th. So that's just over a month away. But check out the trailer. And just a side note, there's going to be a second trailer that's going to be released May 3rd with the re-release of The Phantom Menace for its 25th anniversary, which is coming up May the 3rd. So check out The Phantom Menace in theaters again May 3rd. And if you really, really want to test your bladder skills and how long you can hold it, they're having in certain venues across the country a Star Wars marathon with all the Star Wars films back to back to back to back to back to back starting on May the 3rd. So if you really want to test your mettle, you can try to pull that one off and try to see the entire Star Wars saga in theaters in a few limited venues. I know the AMC in the city, New York City, is doing it. You'd have to check your local listings to find out if there's any other theaters crazy enough to do that over the May the 4th weekend. But again, Phantom Menace is coming out, and it will have a new Acolyte trailer attached to it. There hasn't been much news about Skeleton Crew. That's still being kept very under wraps. We still don't even know if we're going to see Skeleton Crew this year or not. So it's really up in the air. There's been no official release date. There's been a few stills released, but that's about it at this point. The same goes for Andor Season 2. We don't know when that's going to premiere. Probably not this year. It's probably going to be the beginning of 2025. But people are eagerly anticipating that. It was very well received by some fans. We've discussed this on the show before. I found it a little slow. I thought it was a little procedural, but other people really liked the more in-depth seeing behind the scenes on the Empire. And I do like the character in general of Andor. So we'll see how the second season plays out. And the second season is going to be a little different from the first season. It's going to be in segments. There's going to be a couple of mini arcs that lead directly to Rogue One. So that's going to be the end of basically Andor's story. It's going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end of the season, each with its own arc culminating in the events of Rogue One. So it's going to lead right into that movie. So that's going to be kind of a one-off second season that's also going to serve as the finale season. Still no word on Ahsoka season 2. We do know that it's been greenlit, but it's in very early development, so we'll probably won't even see that till 2026 at this point. On the movie front, there have been some exciting developments. They have announced that the script is just about done for the new Jedi Order, and Daisy Ridley is set to read that sometime in May. So that's exciting that that's moving along. And the Mandalorian and Grogu, they're moving so fast with that, it's unbelievable. They decided not to go ahead with another season, so there will not be a fourth season of The Mandalorian. They're going to jump right into the big screen. And they already announced the date is May 22nd, 2026, with production starting in late 2024. So that's very exciting news that we do have a release date. That will probably come out before the new Daisy Ridley movie at this point. We might expect in 2026 to see The Mandalorian and Grogu hit the big screen, and then the new Jedi Order maybe later that year or early the following year. So it's an exciting time for Star Wars fans because we just know that there is going to be more cinematic stuff on the horizon. I did forget to mention one other thing on television. As they already released the release date for the second season of Tales from the Jedi, and I've talked about that before. It was an animated series of shorts that were about 15 minutes long. They were really, really, really well done with some of the real voices of the actors from the movies, like Liam Neeson was in one, Ian McDormand was in one. They really used a lot of the original voices of the actual characters, playing their characters between the events of like Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. So it was a very exciting series to see kind of what happened right before that. They also had an episode that was about baby Ahsoka, like when she was first born in her town. It was a lot of good little backstories, all, meticulously crafted by Dave Filoni and his team. Really well done miniseries with little short snippets. They're doing a sequel series that's going to premiere on May 4th on Disney Plus called Tales of the Empire. And that's going to be very to watch, with little snippet stories that fill in some blanks between episodes of The Mandalorian, between other time periods. It's going to be a very exciting little mini series that's being put on. And as far as I'm aware, all episodes are dropping on May the 4th, so you can binge that to celebrate May the 4th if you're so inclined. On the video game front, there's still been a lot of word about Outlaws. It seems to be moving ahead for this year. There was some speculation earlier this year that they would not get that game out. That's a new Star Wars free roam game that's kind of like Grand Theft Auto in space with Star Wars. From the early trailers, it looks really well done, really high quality, a AAA title for Star Wars. But there's been some controversy this week because Ubisoft announced the pricing. The game is going to cost $70, which doesn't sound so bad. But then they're also going to do that whole baloney with season passes, so that if you want the extra content and updates, you have to pay extra on Xbox, Nintendo Switch, or PlayStation. And they announced the 2 levels of their silver and gold package. And it's $110 for the gold edition and $130 for the ultimate edition. That includes all the season passes, all the extras, all the extra content. I just find that's really steep, and a lot of fans were a little annoyed at that because that pricing is very, very, very high for any game that you haven't even played yet. To shell out $130 for a video game is a lot to ask. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to wait till it comes out, and if it looks like it's as mind-blowing as I'm hoping it's going to be later this year, I might go for the gold or the ultimate, but right now I'm going to sit back and wait before I shell out that kind of money. Another big news in Star Wars this week. In April, it's already been released. They surprised everybody by releasing new content to the Star Tours ride. This was very, very exciting, and this is the second time they've done this. When they refurbished the Star Tours ride, they made it all digital. They added some scenes from other prequel movies that weren't in the original Star Tours. And then when the new movies came out, and they opened Galaxy's Edge, they released some content from The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker. Well, now they're doing it with the shows. They've released clips They're going to be put in the rotation, the random rotation. If you don't know already, the ride has 3 segments, and the segments are broken up from different time periods and different elements from Star Wars, different movies and different time periods within Star Wars. That's now going to be one of the possible things in the rotation when you ride the ride. And people have been going nuts. There's an Ahsoka one, there's a Mandalorian one, there's also an Andor one that are being mixed in the rotations. That's exciting that they're updating the ride, and now the ride can be a whole new experience for some of the people that get to ride it, incorporating the new IP and the new characters from the new series. So that's very exciting and showing that they're really committed to these series going forward. So that's exciting. That's really all on the Star Wars news. If you're not already aware, there is going to be another celebration next year. It's going to be around the May time period, and it's going to be in Japan. And they're expecting a lot of the news about the Daisy Ridley movie and about the Mandalorian movie to be released around that time, possibly even some early footage, depending on how far they get along in the production process. So that's going to be an exciting big event, and probably when we'll hear the next big drop of the next phase of the Star Wars universe. With the 501st Legion, let me start and say that we've been doing gangbusters the past 2 months. Since the last time we spoke, we've done the Chocolate Expo here on the island, here in New York. We've done some different events for various charities. And we just did today, we did an event for the FBI. We were at FBI headquarters in Manhattan, doing a big event for those folks and their families. There was a big family event. We were so proud to do that, to support our local law enforcement here in New York. And we're hoping to do more events with them in the future. It was really an incredible experience to get to do, and just fun for everyone there. We had over 15 characters, and we just blew the doors off the event today. So it was very exciting. This weekend, we have coming up Brick Fest at Nassau Coliseum. It's a big Lego convention. We're going to have a huge presence there, so please check that out if you're in the Long Island area. And coming up in May, even if you can't get to New York and you like the New York Yankees, we're going to be part of Star Wars Day on May the 4th with the New York Yankees. So if you check out that game on May the 4th and you see some Star Wars characters in the audience and doing a march around the field, that's going to be the Empire City Garrison, the Mando Mercs, the Saber Guild, the Rebel Legion, and the Droid Builders, all these different Star Wars groups coming together to celebrate Star Wars Day with the New York Yankees. So that's going to be very exciting for us. So again, if you can't check it out in person, check that out on television. It's going to be a great way to celebrate May the 4th. We're also doing a children's hospital on May the 3rd, a local children's hospital, which many of the garrisons across the country and around the world are doing to help celebrate May the 4th. And in June, we're going to be doing CradleCon at the Cradle of Aviation. And in July, we're going to be putting on our own convention at Levittown Hall on July 20th to raise money for the Cerebral Palsy Association in Nassau County. This is the 3rd time we're doing this convention. This year, we're going to have some of the guests back that we've had in previous conventions. We're going to have the Saber Guild there, the Rebel Legion. We're going to have our sets there. And we actually got a named guest. We got William Ragsdale, who played Charlie Brewster in the Fright Night 1 and 2 and was also on the Fox series Herman's Head. He graciously has agreed to appear to help benefit CP Nassau and to help make this an even bigger event going forward. And we really do appreciate him coming to our event. We're also going to have movie cars, including the Batmobile, if the weather permits, and a DeLorean, and fun for everybody. So please check that out if you're in the New York area. And also check us out at Comic-Con this year. We do expect to be a Comic-Con. It's not official yet, but the second weekend in October, we're planning to be at Comic-Con and have a huge presence there, raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Pete and Chris, you visited last year and had a great time with our Blaster Trooper, raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And it's always a great time. And if you can't, if you're not in New York and you'd like to check out the 501st anywhere in the country, you can check out 501st.com. And if you're in New York and like to check us out and check out our calendar and what we're up to and what events we might be doing or just how to join, you can check out 501ecg.com and see what's going on here in New York. We're very active here. We do over 100 events a year, and we're just going to keep on going.
Wow. Chris, you keep very, very busy, and we enjoy we like supporting the fact that you do a lot of charity work, and that's just phenomenal. So thank you for doing all that. And
One other thing I want to mention, the thing we mentioned last week, I just remembered the Disturbance in the Forest documentary.
yes,
May the 6th at JFK High School at 6 p.m. on Long Island.
whoa,
And there's information on our calendar. If you haven't seen that documentary, and they're going to have it in person with the director and the writer of that documentary here on the island at JFK High School on May the 6th. If you can't come out here and check it out in person, check it out online. It's streaming now. It's all a documentary about the making of the Star Wars Holiday Special. And it is a riot. It's just fascinating.
That's something. Holy mackerel! There's a lot going on. Good for the CG and good for Star Wars. And like I was saying, especially since there's that the cross between doing the charity and helping the community, which is really, really important. So that's really cool as well. It gives it brings up to another level. We here at IFB are going to try to support as much as possible. We're not committed, Chris, but we appreciate the invitation you gave us to participate. We're going to look into it. I think we're going to try to get John 1, maybe even Tipsy Toaster to come up from Virginia, and we'll do a setup there, and we'll do interviews and, pitch in as much as we can and, have a good time. It's all about the fans, Chris. So thank you very much for all that. And thanks for, taking the time out to bring us up to speed with Star Wars, because Star Wars has a special place in all of our hearts. So this one's to you, Chris. Thank you very much. And the 501 ECG. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, guys.
You're very, very welcome, Chris. All right. So we're going to keep in tune, in touch with everything that he's doing and reaching out and seeing if we can make this happen. It would be really cool, Tipsy, if we could actually get out there and
hopefully we get out there and broadcast live from there. That's what my hope is to do. So
that would be so cool.
Hopefully be up in that area at that time frame. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to John 1, see if he's available. Sean Shallow from Battlestar Bulletin Board, the admin and founder, is on with us. Eric Ryder is on with us. Let's see, who else? Did I miss anybody? Jim Park is with us. Thank you very much for joining us live, guys. Really appreciate it. And everybody else that watches us later on. Sometimes we're surprised. We get thousands and up to tens of thousands. I think our record is over 30,000 views on certain shows that we put together. The Dark Side has cookies, just saying. Crazy. So yeah, we love it. We love it. Love it all around. 501, thank you so much. For those of you that don't know, I've mentioned this before. I was in the Empire City Garrison for 6 years back in the day before Chris.
We won't hold that. We'll hold that against you.
No, you won't. No, you won't. But we are still working.
You ought to put up your wedding pictures. What you ought to do. That would convince people how much of a geek you really are.
I should just bring up pictures of all the activities we used to do when I was in the Empire City Garrison. However, the other thing is that we are going to actually have Chris Feehan come back on an exclusive, and hopefully, Tipsy, we can get some of that footage, because he used to record. For those of you that are not aware, Mr. Chris Feehan was at one time one of the leaders in the Battlestar Galactica classic Battlestar Galactica fandom community, part of the president of the official fan club at one time, and I'd met him at a convention in New York when he was in that capacity. And so it'll be great to just talk Galactica with him one of these days. Linda Russell, thank you so much for mentioning my dabbling in the movies. The Tipsy Toaster is full on helping with assuming the editing of the Tower Protocol Resurrection. So thank you, Tipsy Toaster, for stepping up and helping up with that. Really, really appreciate that. So Tipsy Toaster is now a co-producer on the Tower Protocol Resurrection. So thank you, Tipsy. We'll keep you posted. I can tell you this much, that as far as the Stranded Warrior is concerned, we are very, very, very close to having a full rough cut of the complete film, the fan film, thanks to Chuck Davenport, who stepped up and he's doing editing and CG work, and we got to see a rough cut, and it's the the bones and a lot of the flesh of the actual movie is in place. We now have to fine tune it. There's going to be a complete version, which is we're naming it pretty much the fan director's version, and which is going to be over 20 minutes long. Yeah. And then there's going to be a festival version, which will be very much condensed. It'll be approximately under 15 minutes, definitely under 15 minutes, to make it a little more competitive in the fan festival market. So that's what we're hoping to do, guys.
You can't go over 15
we're getting
that,
closer. Yeah, we're getting closer, and it's looking really, really good. I mean, the talent and the acting that went into it is phenomenal.
Yeah, you watch the couple of clips there, and you're like, wow.
It is, yeah. It's really, really good. Mediocre Modeler, thank you so much for all of your help. Mediocre Modeler has been our prop maker for both our projects, Stranded Warrior and the Tower Protocol Resurrection. So thank you, sir, for doing what you do. And it's a beautiful thing when it's a fan that brings these other skills and talents into projects that we do, and that's Mediocre Modeler. So thank you so much for doing that, and you guys will get follow us on the on social media. We will continue to have updates, and of course IMDb as well. But we have special guests tonight. We have Cambrian Comics, and we have the publishers are going to be joining us shortly.
Which I'm interested in seeing how we go about getting comics published. I mean, I think it's the first time we've ever had a comics publisher on.
No, Shane was with us. That's right. With Chris McCauley, but gentlemen, excellent. Frankie B. Washington and Matthew Blair. Outstanding.
Hey,
how are you guys?
I'm nervous. Man. I don't know how you top like Star Wars. I was listening to a friend right there, the previous guy who was on, and he was saying some amazing stuff. I'm like, how do we even top that?
No, listen, everybody's got their lane. It's beautiful. You guys are bringing, the whole comic books. It's like kaijus and cowboys and Roman magic.
That's it all right there.
Mean, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah. Gentlemen, we need to know about personally yourselves. You got to tell us about what brought you to this place. Obviously, your fans. Let us know about that, and then we'll get into the stories. But we want to know about the publishing. So this is your chance now to take over and tell us all about you guys. Come on, welcome.
All right,
no
Matt,
goody.
Do you want me to go? Matt?
Sure. Yeah, you can go.
I promise, because I'm known for dragging ears. I don't want to drag any ears. But
it's worth it. It's worth it, though.
Let's say. My name's Frankie B. Washington. From Boston. I'm a Boston guy. I went to art school in Boston at a school called Butera School of Art. They're not there any longer. Used to be on Beacon Street. Graduated in 1991. After 1991, took a couple of years until I was able to enter into the actual art field as a freelance commercial illustrator. So that was in 1993, and then from that point, I never looked back. So I've been working as a commercial illustrator for 30 plus years, mostly advertising, but also did some film stuff as well as animation. and I've always had a passion for comic books. Love comic books, but unfortunately, at the time, you just didn't make any money in comic books, and my teachers were like hardcore, like, "Hey, you got to make money. You got to make a living as an artist." So ideally, advertising. Advertising was the place to really be in if you really want to make a living. And then also side jobs were like animation. If I got some animation gigs doing storyboards, concept art, or some film stuff, storyboards. So my mindset had changed where it was kind of like I got to make a living, but also I still had this thing deep inside of me where I wanted to do comic books. So occasionally when things would slow down, I would jump in on some gigs. Like I would work in doing trading card artwork, couple of comic book stuff for various stuff. Not big stories, but like little stories here and there I would do just to sort of just keep my fingers in that part of my life going, as well as the professional stuff, the stuff where it was more like doing advertising and branding stuff. So years later, pushing up, what was that? I think I met Matt like wait, was it
2015
when was it?
around
2015 roughly, yeah. But I think we met even before at a con. But in 2015, Matt needed an artist to do a webcomic called The Secret Lives of Villains. And so I started working with him on that. And it was like a sort of short little webcomic and stuff like that. But it was a lot of episodes. So we started doing that for a couple of years. Actually, was it 5 or 6 years? And then
that sounds
from
about
there,
right.
yeah, around 5 to 6 years. And then after that, Matt came to me and he said, "Frank, I know you love kaijus. I know you love Godzilla." And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, how do you feel about, I don't know, I think you brought up the Western side, like a Western kind of thing." And I said, "Well, I love Westerns too." And so he said, "Okay, what if we did a comic book?" And I said, "Okay, all right, that's cool." And immediately I saw this image I saw like an image of this character who was like a combination of Clint Eastwood, Jet Jaguar from the Godzilla movies from the Showa era, and then Jack Kirby's Machine Man. And I saw the design of Hunter Bot Bewin, this character right here. Let me see if you guys can see him.
Bewin stands for the bot with no name, incidentally. So
Yeah.
that's what that
So
means.
I saw
Yes.
that image of this guy Stetson, long massive Stetson and a duster coat with dreadlocks, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
You want to hold him back up against?
Went,
hold him back up against so I can zoom in on it. There we go.
The design was done by a really well-known artist by the name of, he goes by the moniker of Dope Pope, and he's known as a sculptor for a lot of kaijus and stuff like that. And I said, "Hey man, would you mind sculpting Bewin?" So let's see. I don't know if you guys can, if my camera's gonna.
Wow. So is this going to be your actual figure that's going to be released, or is that one just for you?
Well, this is for me. We actually did try to do the figure last year. It was in our August campaign. It was like a print on demand kind of thing. Only one person went for it. So It was a learning lesson. It was a learning lesson that, the thing about it is that trying to do figures and stuff is it's a massive business. It's really hard. You have to build up a fan base. They gotta, people gotta be into it and stuff like that. We're comic book guys. So the thing is that ideally we should focus on our strength, which is doing the comic book. And if we build up enough fans who enjoy the comic book, then we can maybe transition one day to something like this. So
that's cool.
But we tried it. I mean, we tried it out. It was an experiment. We tried it out. We had one person who went for it. That one person has an actual figure.
Nice. Very nice. So,
all right.
Frankie B, you got to tell us a little bit of your, sci-fi or movie background, fantasy, whatever it is. What's actually made you who you are in terms of the fandom?
Oh man. Well, the first comic book that I saw, well, actually second comic book. My first comic book was a Spider-Man, but the second comic book was, my mom had took me to this place called Child World. It was located in Dedham, Mass at the time. It was like this massive toy store. Think of Toys R Us, but Child World was the place. And I see this image. I can see it in my mind right now, where she took me through the doors of Child World, and there was a spinner rack, and there was And on that spinner rack, there was all these comics, these comic books, like 10 to a bag. And I remember right on inside one of the comic book bags was a Shogun Warriors issue 1. And I lost my mind when I saw it. I just was like, Mom, please. Because I know she was taking me there because I wanted to get some Shogun Warrior toys, the figures from Mattel. But when I saw the comic book, it just blew my mind. Like I was like, wow, Marvel Comics is doing the Shogun Warriors. So she got it for me. And then I got a couple of little figures and stuff like that. And then that was the start. Because it told me like that actually somebody was an artist was being paid to draw something like these robots and stuff. And I love superheroes, but something about the giant robot genre, it just fascinates me. It's something about the idea of human beings piloting these giant mechanical warriors. The warriors all have their own specialized weaponry. They are superheroes. Their colors, the primary colors. They're fighting against the trope of the mad scientist or an invasion from aliens from space, and they're trying to protect Earth against these evil forces. It's technically all the tropes of the superhero, but just done in a way where now they're just these giant mechanical robots. And then all the robots they had special techniques or whatever, so that some robots would be 3 little ships they can combine to form one robot. Voltron would be like 5 lions that form one kind of beast, super robot, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I just thought it was the most amazing thing. And I wanted to be a part of that. And then it also combined that with the fact that I also love Godzilla. I love Godzilla, Gamera, a lot of those giant monster movies that came from Japan that appeared on the Creature Double Feature that I used to watch on Channel 56, WOVI. Shout out. That kind of stuff, it all tied in with it. I just was like, man, I love the idea of giant monsters and they're fighting and but also the fact of human beings and how humans had to deal with the fact of living with these massive beings and stuff and what that whole thing would be like. That was pretty much it. That I was sold on that concept.
Wow. Matthew, tell us about your background and your role in what you guys are doing in terms of Cambrian Comics. Both of you are I would assume both of you are the publishers, and so give us your background.
All right, so hey everyone. My background is not as extensive or as interesting as Frankie's, but
come on.
I grew up. It's true. It's true. I grew up in a household that moved around a lot. Both my parents are ministers, so my birth certificate says I was born in North Carolina, but then we moved to Washington D.C., Worcester, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Yep. So we were all over the place. So books and fiction and heroes were a big thing in my childhood. I did not grow up with superheroes like a lot of other people. I grew up with Greek mythology. That was a big part of my childhood. It's like the joke was, some kids watched Sesame Street. I was reading the Odyssey when I was a kid. So that's where I come from. Greek, Roman, Norse mythology, and history. I became a really big history nerd. I went to college for that. And when I came back, I could not find a job to save my life. And I don't want to get too personal here, but things weren't going very well. So what I did sort of retreated into fandom and escapism and sort of coming up with my own stories. And it got to a point where I was like, well, I have all these cool ideas, let's see if we can make something of it. Let's make a comic book. It can't be that hard. Spoiler alert, it is extremely hard.
Yes, it is.
But I potted around with some ideas from 2012 to 2015. And then like Frankie said, I discovered Frankie. It was a freelance artist site. I don't remember. I think it was freelanced.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, I saw your artwork. I really like it. And it just so happens you're also local. So, you know,
but
you
we
want to
also
make
met at a
something.
con,
And
too.
like,
We also
well,
met
no,
at a
that
con.
was after. We had been doing Secret Lives of Villains for a couple of years at that point.
Oh,
You know, the wonders of the modern internet is you can like have a working relationship with someone and never see them.
Yeah.
Which is fun.
Oh man.
But yeah,
It's been years.
yeah. I mean, in terms of comics, in terms of like, you know, more traditional geek media, as it were, I was sort of a late bloomer when it came to that. Like, yeah, you know, I'm not saying my parents were prudes, but I did grow up in the '90s, and you know, if you know anything about comic book history, you know, the stuff that was going on at like Marvel and DC in the '90s wasn't the best.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Although there was some really good, like,
I agree.
yeah, like I did discover the Sandman, and I really loved that one. And
Yes.
like I also fell in love with like the Justice League cartoon.
Yes.
Incidentally, this was like during like college, so you know, like I said, late bloomer. But yeah, you know, I met Frankie. I had this idea for a supervillain sitcom that lasted like, let's see, 2 strips, 400 strips total. It lasted a while.
It was a while.
And then I moved out to the West Coast. I was like, you know, the strip had been going on for like 5 years, and I was like, you know, maybe we should do something. And you know, Frankie's love of kaiju is very well known and documented. And I was like, you know, let's do something about this. You know, let's do something about this. And so like we came up with. You know, he came up with the idea of like, you know, the robot cowboy, the bot with no name, and tying back to this broadcast, actually, I wasn't a fan of the original Battlestar Galactica, but I saw the remake and I loved it.
Oh, both of them. Yeah, the original and the new stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Whew.
And
well, everything has.
I love it.
Matthew, everything has an origin, right? Like when you talk about you know, the Odyssey, and you're talking about Hercules, and you're talking about you know the you know, mythology in and of itself. That's the origin, and so Battlestar Galactica has this classic aspect to it that, you know, for whatever it's worth, that's where it came from. So I'm glad that you
and there's the 12 Lords of Kobol, right?
Yeah,
I'm getting that right, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and,
so there
and like
is,
you know the classics names, and like just like the idea of like, you know, the home is gone, we have to take to the stars to find somewhere else to live. Like that's an idea that really speaks to me, and I like, you know, I don't want to spoil future projects, but that is an idea that features very heavily in like the list of ideas that I have on my computer.
Nice.
So you know, something to, you know, keep aware of, and something to, you know, follow our Facebook page for stuff we update it fairly regularly. So, you know, something to, you know, keep in the back of your mind.
Well, I see I see what the connection of, you know, both of you, what you're bringing to your publishing house. However, I wanted to bring to your attention that we have with us tonight is a past guest, Shane Chebsby. So he was on our show with a good friend of ours, Chris McCauley. They are Shane's actually publishing one of his IPs, and it's Cowboys and Dinosaurs, and he is the editor-in-chief. Yep,
Nice,
editor-in-chief of Scratch Comics. He's the actual comic book publisher and editor, and he actually said that he's here to see the interview with both of you. He's curious to know and find out more about you. So he also said it's hard work, and you guys are smashing it. Thank you, Shane, for tuning in. This is very cool. I also want to mention that. Let's see, Clayton Barr, George Zuvelos, Captain Martin from The Stranded Warrior, our own fan film, is with us. George, thank you for joining. George
Oh,
is in the
hey, what's
process of
going
post
on?
production of a feature length movie called Once a Week for Life that he's
Awesome.
continuing to edit down for distribution. So, good luck with that, George. Thank you for tuning in. Mr. Taylorman, sci fi author that was a guest here at IFB just recently, did his first interview on air, was with us. And so there is an all star cast that's tuning in tonight. Thank you
Oh
very much, everybody, for
man.
watching.
Oh,
So,
we are honored.
gentlemen,
Thank you so much.
I get it.
Here.
I see, Frankie, you're doing the kaiju cowboy thing, and I see Matthew, you're
Yeah.
doing the Romana's Magic Eye, right? So
Yes.
you're tapping into your history stuff, and Frankie, you're tapping into the kaiju stuff, and you're bringing it together, and so now you're publishing two separate comic books. I think basically at the
Yes, we
same
are.
time, correct? All right, kaiju's and
Well,
Sort of, yeah.
cowboys,
well,
sort
well.
of,
Actually, the thing
and
that
Romanus Magicae.
sort of.
So tell everybody about those two and what's going on with the history of that.
Well, I think with Codgers and Cowboys, I learned a lot. My time working in advertising. Advertising was an amazing learning experience. I've always enjoyed working in teams. Working that team kind of element where you have all these various people with amazing. Everybody has a skill set, and they sort of bring stuff to the project. And so that whole idea of we understand production schedule, and that also carries over to like film and then also animation too, where the production schedule and that everyone we know that there's a deadline and that everyone comes in, they know that they got things that they have to do. So the key thing with me, when me and Matthew, when we would have our discussions, was the fact of trying to stay very focused on getting things done so that we can get them out, and then try to develop a sort of production schedule so that we can be consistent. Because that's the biggest thing that if anyone's trying to do a comic book out there, it's about about trying to have that level of control to understand that yes, this is a business. As much as the creative part is always fun and exciting and all that stuff. That's fun. But then also now comes production. Now sitting back and saying, okay, how long is this going to take to make this? What are the things that we're going to have to we should be thinking about? Like again, like marketing, promotion. That should also tie in there. That should also be considered part of that creative aspect as well. As much as you're developing the product, now you have to think of ways of how can we try to inform people about what this thing is, leading up to the point of when, say, like we do a crowdfunder. So getting people excited, trying to, because you're going to have to start trying to build an audience. You don't want to try to build an audience when you're in the process of doing a crowdfunder. You want to already say like 6 months in advance to a year, if you can, to be already, planting the seed so that by the point when you get the crowdfunding going, people are jazzed to be like, okay, finally, you guys got something going. Finally, let's go and try to get this thing happening. So, you know, I try to take some of the things that I learned working in these different kind of advertising, animation, as well as film, and then try to and apply that to what we're doing here with Kaizen Cowboy, and it's working. Like I think that me and Matthew, nice,
What?
nice. Me and Matthew are now. I think we've been slowly tweaking and getting better and better and better and how we're doing stuff and how even our communication, how we're working together too. I tell people who are trying to collaborate with other people, one of the major things I learned working in team elements was communication. Communication is the key thing where it's like people learn how to understand and hear and listen what someone is saying, and then also being open to being able to hear different things so that we both are sort of learning certain things about on how to do the business or how to put the book out and things like that. So that's why Cotton and Cowboys, we're on issue. I'm looking at 5 issues that we've already put out. We put out
Whoa.
5 issues. Yeah, I don't think people understand that. Like we've already in the breath of since 2019 when we concepted in 2019, right?
Yeah, well,
And,
I
and then
think
we
it
came.
was a a project in 2020 when that certain bad thing was happening that the internet doesn't like us to talk about.
Yes, yes. But the idea when we first was talking, I think it was like a year in advance. Like we started talking about Kaijus and Cowboys in 2019, and then concept.
Yeah, well, yeah. There was
the next year.
The book you're holding up right now is the
yes.
Yeah.
The other one, Team KS1. So we had another story as well. So I mean, it's like this is 5 books, and and what happened was Matthew was like, "Hey Frank," he said, "I think I can tell the Kaijus and Cowboys as a 12-issue series." And I said, "Serious?" And he said, "Yeah." So I said, "Well, we haven't seen that." I mean, I'm a kid from the 70s and 80s. So I remember when the 80s when they used to do the 12 issues maxi series. So I was like, that's kind of new. That's something that we haven't seen. A lot of people don't really think about doing the 12 issue series and what they'll be like, "Oh, just do 4 or whatever." But we were like, okay, you could tell 12 issues. Okay, cool. Let's look at that. And then if we get past 12 issues, we see how the response is. Now we can decide on the next step on where to go from there. And so already we're already on issue 4 with our campaign now. And I've already completed issue 7. So my next script I get will be issue 8. And this is all because
we're working on the script for issue 8 too.
Yeah.
I see that on your website. I see that there's no less than 1,500 views of your Kaijus and Cowboys number 0. So that in and of itself is a success. And
Yes.
I see that they're very affordable. The PDFs are $2.99 for issue 1 and issue 2, and I guess your issue 3 has that dropped or you sign up? I'm not sure. I was looking at.
Is there any way that we could put the Kickstarter campaign up? Because the Kickstarter campaign is going on now, and then that one
is
has
it?
all the books.
Okay.
Yes, it's going on now.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll bring that up. Cool. Now, Frank, just for 1 second to jump over to Matthew's. I would assume, Matthew, you're probably taking the lead on the Roman one, and Romanus and the Magicae, and it's up as a free, right? This is the issue 0, and it looks like it's a sign up, and then you kind of get to see this. Read the whole comic book. Is that how this is playing?
Yeah. So this goes back to the marketing and the building of the audience that Frankie was talking about. I have learned more about marketing and how things work and how to build an audience from Frankie than I could at any program at any college, whatever. So what we do is we release the comics through Kickstarter. It's a crowdfunding model first, and that's what you do if you want the new stuff right away. And then after that, eventually, a couple months after the Kickstarter releases and after the Kickstarter fulfills.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's the old Kickstarter. Kickstarter 4.
Oh yeah.
Issue 4. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry. Gotta get it in front of as many eyes as possible.
So
then a couple months after the Kickstarter fulfills, we put it up on our Global Comics page, and we put it up for sale on Indie Planet, which is run through the printer that we use, which is Kablam. It's a great service. If you have a book that needs to be printed, Kablam, they're fantastic. They're quick. They deliver great stuff. So yeah, it's crowdfunding first for the new stuff. Wait a little bit, and then you get the
there you go.
The new stuff. There we go. So yeah, this is the first issue. This is issue number 4. You can run for the hills.
Actually, I can pull up the audio in this if you want. Hang on.
If you want.
Stand by.
What and is this? And what about the Roman one? Are you pushing that one as well yet, or how's that?
Yeah, it's the same model.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same model. You can actually get that we have the Cambrian reward tier, which is the first 4 issues of Kaijus and Cowboys, and the 0 issue and the number 1 issue for Romanus Magicae. It's $60, so you're getting pretty good value. 6 comics for $10 a pop plus shipping and handling. I like to think that's a pretty good deal because I am a firm believer that comic books should be affordable, comic books should be accessible, and comic books should be they should look good. And so we're planning on running another Kickstarter for Romanus Magicae in June. So be on the lookout for that. Follow us on all the various social media platforms for information on that. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And you're seeing the artwork right now. It's yeah.
Can I just add something really quick? I just want to say to people out there that are watching this is that we want to make sure that each one of our campaigns, I'm a collector. I'm somebody who I love collecting original artwork. If behind me I have figures and stuff like that. I've always believed as a collector that you want to make something that's going to be rare and in most cases limited. That's the golden word, limited. So that when you get it, you go, okay, I know I'm one of, and then you go whatever the amount of people who got it. The thing about it is that with each one of our campaigns, we tend to if you go to that campaign, that campaign, and when it's happening, you're getting stuff that's just going to be in that campaign. The next campaign is going to be totally different. It's going to have totally different stuff because we want these books to be, and we want the whole campaign experience to be a unique experience. We want it to be something that if you happen to be somebody who is what we call writers. So once you join one of our campaigns, you're a writer. You're writing with us. You're saddling up, riding with us on this journey. So if you go on that particular campaign, so for instance, our very first campaign we had issue 0, for instance. So this is not available anymore. This was issue 0
for print. Yeah.
No, the actual comic book. So the actual comic book, we don't even print that anymore. This is not this is done. If you were one of those people that jumped on that first campaign, you got this original. And if people we have some books that are on Indie Planet, those don't look like, they're different than how these look on the campaign. So this will be a campaign copy, and it's all messed up and stuff because it's one of my copies. But this
it's red. It's actually been read.
Yes, right. Yeah, yeah, I got that right there. My copy right on there. So I just tear them all up. I look at them and stuff, and I use them for reference just to make sure I'm not redoing the same thing. But we make sure that this is a campaign copy. But if you go through Indie Planet, once the campaigns are over, it's going to look different. It'll have the actual number of the issue, and it would have something else inside of it. But certain things might be taken out of it just because we want those issues on the campaigns to be special. We understand that people who come on those campaigns, the reason why they're buying this stuff is because they want something that's going to be unique. Also, one of the things that we're going to have, one of the reward tiers, is this. This is brand new. This is a mystery pack. And the mystery pack is going to be containing various items like this, like the metal card.
Ooh.
Now, you don't know if you may be getting a metal card because it's a mystery pack. So it's, you're taking a gamble. But this is one of the things that's going to be inside of it.
But you won't get a Zonk.
It's going to be something good.
It's going to be something good.
You won't get a Zonk.
Most definitely. And then we're also offering coasters this time around as well. Beside the fact of the stickers and prints and stuff, and one of our new trading cards that we have, which we're very happy with. Let me see if I can find that. Well, actually, here.
Yeah, Pete's big into the trading cards.
I do sketch cards. So this is like the sketch cards. I do commissions as well. So if anyone out there likes original artwork, I do commissions as well on the campaign. Yeah, let me see. I can't see that.
Yeah, I get to handle them when I'm doing fulfillment. They are fantastic. It is, it's a little piece of unique and special. Yeah, yes, and this is a trading card version of the Kickstarter exclusive cover that we have for the campaign, and this is commissioned by Dope Pope himself.
Dope Pope, yep.
So,
and we only do one variant cover. Another thing is we only do one variant cover because we saw what happened during the 90s when multiple variant covers. That, to me,
Ugh.
as a collector, I want it to be special. So if you go on this campaign, you get that cover. But now when we have our next campaign, it won't be available. It'll be a totally different thing. You see what I mean? So it keeps that kind of thing as a collector spirit, where it's like, oh, that's rare. I got it. No one else is getting it.
Oh, Pete, your audio's out.
Yep.
There you go.
Shane says.
Oh, there you go.
Shane's telling us we'll share your Kickstarter on our social media. Looks great.
Oh.
So
Thank you.
that's
Wow. Thank
so
you.
he's
Oh,
representing.
man. Thank you so much.
The comic book industry in the UK. And he
nice.
is a. Yes, and that's Scratch Comics. That's who he represents. So he is
Nice.
going to help out with that. So thank you very much, Shane. Really appreciate it. Tom
No, thank
McClory,
you.
Mike
Across
DeBrune,
the pond.
thank you for joining us
Yes.
live, guys. So yeah, I mean
I'm
what community
I'm a huge
is
fan of
about.
2000 AD. I just want to shout that out. I'm a huge fan of 2000 AD. Just saying.
Me too. I actually,
Excellent.
I actually write for Multiversity Comics, and they put me on the 2000 AD desk. So I've been
wow.
following all of the progs and all of the magazines,
man.
and it's oh my god, like the
Cool.
British comic book
Very
scene
cool.
is fantastic.
It is.
Well, it's a small
Yeah.
world. In the end, it's a small world. But it's great that community helps. It's it takes a village, and that's what we're all
Sure
here
does.
about, guys. And sometimes you gotta come out of that that region that you're in. You gotta come out, and this
Yes.
is one of the ways, right? You took the chance of coming out on IFB, and we're giving you a chance to get the word
thank you.
out. It's worthy. I mean, it's fans, fuel the fleet, and you guys are fans doing things that you love, and that's what we are a part of. That's what we really enjoy. We know now, being 4 years doing this show, we've met all different types, and right away when we deal with fans that are involved, it just puts a different spin on it. So we want to make sure that we help you guys out as much as we can. That our people that are watching, if this is part of what you like, the kaijus and cowboys and the Roman history stuff, which is very dear to me, check out the campaign, check out the Kickstarter, and let's get this stuff going, man. Let's
Pete,
help out.
Pete, can I just add something? And this is me just getting where I another reason why I'm doing this is as I told you, I'm a huge fan of the Shogun Warriors, and I had the chance to meet my hero Herb Trimpe before he passed away. I have a picture with me. I know I don't want to get all choked up, man. I have a picture with me where one of the final pictures after it was like a year later he passed away. I had a chance to tell my hero the impact of what his artwork was. I wish I could have met Doug Munich just to tell him about his writing and stuff. But how that artwork, that Shogun Warriors and the Godzilla stuff, and even the Hulk stuff that Herb Trimpe did, impacted me, this kid who grew up in Jamaica Plain in the projects. And my feeling, one of the things that really drives me even more so today is the fact of trying to move forward in the footsteps of these giants that came before, the legacy. I am so afraid of the American art form losing, being almost pushed aside for stuff like when I hear people talk about manga. I love manga. I love anime. I was part of an anime club in the 80s, and I love it. But I also am an American artist, and the American comic art form is a very powerful art form, and it's an art form that has created so many other things. And I look at a lot of the young folks out there, and I say, man, you know what? I want to do my due diligence. Codgers and Cowboys is my small little piece of that puzzle, of just showing that kind of style of artistry, and same thing as what Matthew's doing of storytelling, can be something that these kids today can look at and appreciate. I I remember as a kid watching animation shows that impacted me. That was about escapism. It was about going into different worlds and adventures and the good guys and the bad guys and these things that were just filled with such energy and stuff like that. So there's a part of me that also is it's a strong motivation inside of me where I hope that this work being put out by me and many others that are doing it as well, that some kid out there is going to look up and say, you know what, Mr. Washington, I saw what you did, and that inspired me to do the career to become an artist. Or same thing, I was inspired by what Matthew was doing, and I want to be a writer. So now I'll get off my podium because I'm getting all yeah. So
you know what?
I'm crying now too. Good God.
I know. It's like I get so emotional about it because it's a very
well. That's okay.
Right?
That's all right. It's because it's real. It's real and it's authentic, and that counts. Frankie, is that glow in the dark on your shirt?
I don't know. I don't think so, but it's just really bright. I got a nice light. That's.
Oh man, that's
no,
it doesn't. Man, I love glow in the dark, bro. If you told me that was glow in the dark, I was gonna. Oh,
I do
because it looks like it. It looks like one of those.
Hey, maybe we'll get a variant cover for the next one that goes in the dark.
Or
imagine
further on down the line. That's an idea.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking, guys. No, it's fun. That's what it's all about. It's got to be fun. You got to be passionate. If you're not passionate, when we started the show, we recognized the fact that Colonel Ty, the original Colonel Ty, Terry Carter, passed, and he was of the original cast and the original characters. For me, he was this real cool friend, but a serious individual career-wise. He played the colonel, and he had this this bond with Commander Adama, and I always looked up to Colonel Ty because everybody kind of it's like the cool dude is always the top dude, right? So that's all right. Adama's Adama, but Colonel Ty for me was like, that guy's a consummate professional, and he's got to have a backstory why he never became a commander himself, or maybe he was. We don't know, but I always thought it was really cool. And sometimes, they a lot of people always say, never meet your heroes. And I got to tell you, I've had that situation where you come upon somebody that you really think is, and then they're not. And then on the flip side, when I met Colonel Ty at like I said, I had an opportunity. Unfortunately, the convention was canceled midway first day. But they were there for the weekend, and I was as well.
Oh, wow.
And I got to meet the guy, and I got to talk to the guy, and it wasn't about just getting an autograph and moving on. So spent a couple of hours just getting to know the person. He's really, really nice guy, and that's what we bring to our fandom, and we do this. I wouldn't be here talking to you guys, promoting your work and your passion if it wasn't for Battlestar Galactica. It brought myself and the Tipsy Toaster together, and look at us now, right? 4 years later, 21,000 plus fans, a lot of connections. We get to meet people like you guys, and that's what it's about. It's about passion. So I'm humbled to to see that you guys have done this, and you've forged forward, and you're doing it. But it's so cool, and so we want to help out. And Shane is also says, love your passion, Frankie. And Mike DeBrune is with us. Let's see, Wendy Fast is with us. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for coming.
Hey guys,
Irving is with us.
Thank you so much.
We get our fair share of live viewers that'll drop in here and there, and then we'll get on the rerun side, guys. We've been very, very blessed to say that we've had upwards of 30, 40, 50,000 that'll watch our show.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
Things happen, but we want to support. I know that I personally have signed up on your Kickstarter and sprinkled
Oh.
a little bit of help on that, and
Oh,
we want to make
thank you so
sure.
much.
Every bit is appreciated.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So,
Thank
You know,
I keep pinching myself because again, it's like I people contact me and I said this is about every reader. Like to me, I told Matthew, I said, Matthew, what we're looking for is organic growth.
yes,
Each reader,
absolutely.
one reader at
Yep.
a time.
oh,
Yeah.
That's what's important.
even if
Because
you,
I want
but if you inspire that one
yeah,
person, that's the best thing.
exactly. I
Yeah.
want people that are going to be around, ideally for longer. I don't want it to be like we just come in and then a bunch of people just look at it and they go, oh, okay, and then they forget about us. I want it to be something where this is an experience. That's why when I talk about stuff, I go, yeah, I remember sitting and watching cartoons, $6 Million Man show,
Woohoo!
Captain Marvel. I got a chance to meet, not Pierce Bronson, Jackson Boswick, who played Captain Marvel for the Shazam CBS. And I lost my
Yeah.
mind. I was like, "Oh my god, you don't understand!" I'm like, I remember I was just
Oh,
shaking.
that's
That
I
feeling like
remember that.
you tell yourself that you're not gonna do it. You're like, "I'm not gonna fan out. I'm cool. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do it." And then I did it, man. I fanned out. I was all like, because all of a sudden I was this little kid sitting in my apartment with my little sister next to me, man. And I'm like, "Don't you? That's Captain Marvel. Be quiet, okay?"
Yeah.
And it's like. Him and Mentor in the
Love it.
RV and stuff. I just, but
Love
when I
it.
saw, and he just said, "Hey, how you doing?" He said, "Hey, Frank." And I remember drawing an original piece of artwork with me. I drew myself yelling Shazam, turning into him, and I
Oh,
presented it to him.
cool.
Yeah, he loved it.
Really?
He loved the piece and stuff. Yeah, I
Oh,
gotta
wow.
look for it. I know I got it on file somewhere, but yeah,
Oh,
I said,
man.
man, I said, I just, but it was just, I remember meeting, I can't remember his name. I had dinner with him though. It was, he played Hawk on Buck Rogers.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Oh, I
Oh,
can't think of
that's
his
pretty
name.
cool.
Yeah, it was at a
Oh,
con.
man.
I was at a con, and yeah, and they said, "Hey, you want to go to dinner?" And they said his name, and they said, "Would you like to come to dinner?" And I said, "Yeah." And I remember sitting, and he was the coolest guy. He was like, and I'm like, it's weird because you keep looking at him, and I'm like, that's Hawk. And I'm trying, I was like, I can't call him Hawk. He's not Hawk. He's like,
he's a real person. No, he's not.
Yes,
He's in my universe.
I met him.
My university's Hawk. Yeah.
yeah, another great experience. Another one I remember going because I used to go to a lot of cons back in the day. A lot. I even went to San Diego, but I remember going to Manhattan. There was a Manhattan con, and I was getting set up. I was getting all set. I had my head down, getting set up, and some guy came scrolling over, and he said, "Hey, how you doing?" And as soon as I looked up, it was Walter Koenig.
Oh shit.
Oh,
And
nice.
I that's the feel. I'm literally like I'm looking up, and I stopped myself, and I was like, "Check," and I said Walter Koenig. Like but instinctively, I wanted to call him Chekhov, and then I was thinking of Babylon 5, Babylon 5, and my brain as I came, and he was like, "Hey," he said, "How you doing?" He said, "So what you doing?" I was like, "I'm an artist," and I was all fumbling. I was like, "Yeah, I'm an artist, and I'm drawing." I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Yeah, I'm over here. I'm just gonna do some signings," and I was like, "Yeah, okay." Yeah, but you're amazing. It was just one of those weird kind of, great
That
memories,
is so
man.
cool.
So cool stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Bester was an
Absolutely.
asshole, but we love him.
Who was it again? What'd you say?
Bester from Babylon 5, that was his character.
Wasn't he? Oh, that was a great show. Oh
yeah.
man.
Tom,
Yeah.
is
We
it
got some
Tom
ties for that one,
Christopher?
too.
Tom Christopher?
I think
Yeah,
that's
that's who he-
Thom,
who
or
was.
Thom
Yeah,
Christopher
Tom
was
Christopher. Yeah.
Hawk.
Yep.
Was
Yeah.
Hawk? Yes.
Yes, that's it. He was Hawk.
and-
Yeah.
Mediocre Modeler says he's Hawk. The only good thing to come out of Buck Rogers season 2.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah.
Thank you,
it
Kim,
lost-
for. Thank you for that. I
I've-
like that.
I've never seen the movie though. I heard it was the Buck Rogers movie, and I don't think I've ever
the
seen
original.
Oh, yeah.
The
The
first,
very-
first
the
one was a
first
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I gotta see that because I heard it was pretty
Yep.
like hardcore, man.
No, it just actually
Oh, it was.
Battlestar,
It was really
Battlestar
good.
Galactica was a movie as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Buck
yes,
Rogers
Yes.
was a movie. I saw it in the movies, and it was a little more. It was a lot more
Wow.
serious
Mhm.
than the
Yeah,
actual
that's what I
TV
heard.
show.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you have to see it. It's
Wow.
worth it. It's really really
Okay.
good.
Oh, I definitely will.
Gentlemen,
Hey, Pete,
we had a really really good time.
Before we go, let's,
I want you guys
Yeah.
to.
before
I
we
want
go,
you guys
Pete,
to come back. Say again?
Stop. Hold.
Go.
Good. Hang on.
Whoa, let's go ahead. What do you want? Wow.
Nice.
You can tell I'm old school, man. I love colors.
Very
I
cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah,
All right.
no, see, you don't understand. Like, I've seen the artwork from like up to issue 7. It's insane. Like, there's like, I don't think I've ever seen any other art that does action and like energy so well as Frankie. And it's
Well,
like,
I tell a lot of artists, there's a lot of artists that beat themselves up because they're trying to create perfection. Like they'll go their first book, and I'm like, no. I said it's about the journey. When I got a comic book, when I first got comic books, there's many artists that I admire, where if you looked at their first work and then saw where they were later in their lives, it looked totally different. There's a journey that goes with your artwork. I've seen the journey. Like I can look at my artwork from the very first comic that I have of Codgers and Cowboys to the most recent stuff. Like the one that's not out. It's gonna be a while out. Issue 7. I'm doing markers in it now. I'm experimenting.
Wow.
Now I'm in a stage where I'm still, because I've always been a person where I've always considered myself an eclectic artist. Excuse. And I love experimenting with my artwork. I like that. I think that's one of the things a lot of old school artists like Jim Steranko, he would do cut and paste when he did Nick Fury stuff.
Right.
He'd be like, "Oh, let me try to let's see something new." And I love that sense of experimentation. So I try to tell young artists out there, don't go into it thinking you're gonna create perfect. Like you're like, "Oh man, I'm gonna show all my cards and all this." No. You're gonna grow. Allow yourself to grow during the journey, and the people reading it will grow with you, because they'll go back and they'll go, "Wow, look at your work. Wow, look at you were doing this," and then all of a sudden, you're at issue 10. Look how different that looks. That's what makes the whole experience so great, because we see the growth of it. And the same thing with writing, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've seen the I go back to read the first scripts I wrote when I decided that I was going to make comic books, and it's it's like I've definitely gotten better with the writing, but like hopefully those scripts will never see the light of day, or if they do, they will be heavily edited.
That's part of the human condition is evolving and you know, adapting, changing. If you're not, then I don't know, there's typically just something's up. So I don't know. Let's see where we go, gentlemen. Let's go on the Odyssey together.
Awesome.
I want you guys to come back. We have an open
Next
door
campaign
policy.
is in August.
Then
The
why
next
don't
campaign
you
is in
guys?
August.
All right, let's have you come back. I want to talk more about, you know, the bigger picture. I want to find out where you guys are going to be, and in the meantime, let us know if you're doing any conventions, so that we can put the word out. And let's revisit all this. We had a great time.
Right on.
Brian Sands,
man, this is awesome.
Karen Greathouse, thank you for joining us live. We're wrapping up with two of our guests here, Cambrian Comics. Frankie and Matthew, publishers, artists, and editors of two very cool lines of comic books, right? That Kaijus and Cowboys, and then Romanus Magicae is the other one.
Yes, and
that's,
we'll talk
in the
about
works.
that book as well. So
Cool.
We'll put a pin on that one. So.
Excellent.
Right. Awesome.
Antonio, thank you for joining us live. Appreciate you stopping in. Please go back and listen to the rest of the interview. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much.
Thank you so
looking
much.
forward to having you back again.
Right on.
Likewise.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much
Thanks,
for having
guys.
us too.
Take care. Thank you for having
It's been a
us.
pleasure.
So here's to you.
Fans
You
feel
can't
the
see me,
feel.
but I overheated.
Yeah.
But
That's okay.
here's to you.
Fans
Thank
feel the
you.
feel.
I don't
Hands through the
care.
fleet.
Fans
All
fuel the
right.
fleet. Amen to that.
Great show, guys. Good luck with the campaign. Thank you, Shane. Much appreciated. Thanks for stopping by. Really, really appreciate it. So cool that you were able to come in. Everybody, thank you for joining us. It's such a privilege to have you all come in. We enjoy having, fans that are in, the business representing and doing what they do. Kim, thank you. Yes, I agree. Great interview. Great show, guys. Good luck with the campaign. Yes, Shane, of course, of course, of course. With your help, Shane, it's going to be an even better campaign. And so we're looking forward to having them back, looking forward to having you back, Shane. Chris McCauley will be back soon enough with more updates. He's got stuff going on left and right. So he's keeping me up to speed. We're going to be doing an exclusive again with him very soon. Dave Francoeur, thank you so much for your kind words. It's always great to see you. George Strickland, thank you for tuning in. I'm looking forward to getting into the comic books and the stories from Cambrian Comics, and that's of course Frankie B. Washington and Matthew Blair, who are the publishers and editors, artists as well, and they're putting all that stuff together. Really, really cool. And I don't know. I really, really enjoy this kind of stuff, especially when it's, the grassroots. Personally, I've jumped on and I'm supporting their Kickstarter. They have very, very reasonable goals, which is very cool. Hopefully they'll, go over those, match the goal. And then of course, go over it, which is great. Hopefully they'll be able to do that. So guys, if you can, go over and support. As far as IFB is concerned,
pop a link up later.
Yeah, let's pop a link up later. Tipsy, what'd you think?
I was so hot. It was so great that it overheated my camera.
Oh wow, that's really weird.
That's the first time that's ever happened. So hey,
yeah, no kidding.
That's
Joshua
fantastic.
and Moret, thank you for joining us live. We're wrapping up IFB at Diffley Broadcasting. We just had a great team from Cambrian Publishing. It's a comic book team of Frankie B. Washington and Matthew Blair that are publishing two separate stories on their through their publishing house, and they're really cool. Kaijus and Cowboys and Romanus Magicae, which I want to know more about because I'm a big
being the history buff that you are, that would probably be right up your alley.
Yeah, man, I am dying. I'm going to sign up so I can actually read that issue 0. Camper John, thank you for joining us. We're wrapping up Interfleet Broadcasting. All of you that have tuned in are regulars. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you coming on. Chris, you and I have been talking a lot about revisiting Battlestar Galactica fanzines. And so we're going to actually incorporate that probably sooner than later. And the idea is this, Tipsy Toaster and I, Chris and I have discussed maybe, picking certain fanzines, and then I would highlight a story that I really enjoyed from one, and then talk about it, and then Chris would do the same. He would say he would pick his, and then he would tell us all about the story he read, and then encourage you guys maybe to go find it or not, and if not, at least you'll know that it existed, because I've uncovered in the last year a lot of lesser known fanzines that had some really cool Battlestar Galactica stories.
Yeah, and it crosses continents. I mean, there's a couple of ones that you've got. I got Blake 7. I think it's the ones I got from the UK, and a couple others from different places. It means that there's fans everywhere. I bet you there's some French ones as well somewhere. I've never seen any, but there may have been some French ones at one time. I mean, If you come across any of those ones that are even foreign languages, we'd love to get a hold of them and see what the fans did back in the day.
Well, I just found out today, Chris. Yeah, we just figured out that there was an Australian Battlestar Galactica fanzine.
Huh. And Baz didn't know about it?
And Baz, well, I think Baz didn't know about it because Baz is focused on getting that Viper
done.
completed.
Yeah, he's getting close.
Now he's working on trailer. Yeah. So
Apollo's Odyssey, the Colonials I have, the Battlestar Review I have, Apollo's Odyssey I have. Yeah, those are all the ones I've gotten there, Kim. I've gotten a lot of those.
Oh, so Kim, you're gonna love this. We're gonna start picking them, and we're gonna start talking about some of the great stories that kind of gone, they've kind of almost all but disappeared, and so we want to bring them back. I really wish we could contact some of these other authors. Never mind, like the Monroes. We have
Sharon Monroe would have been great to get a hold of, and we've tried.
Yeah. But super fan Fran Severn.
Yep, we were lucky to get a hold of her. That's how we met Fran. We are looking at some of her work and reached out and.
Yeah, and so Fran is a good friend of ours. Will typically regularly check in. We've met at conventions, and then of course Professor Eric Padden, also another great fanzine writer who continues to write. And we've met with him, we've hung out, we've gone to conventions, all through our connections with, Fran and IFB. And so, there's some really cool stuff out there, guys. And we want to share that as we discover this. Chris, you've been a big fanzine reader from the beginning. I mean, you've been
because after Battlestar left, I was like, what do I do? So read. Read all the books.
Yeah, exactly.
Grab as much fanzines material as I could. And asked if I have Colonials 4. I believe I do. I mean, I might be confusing that with Anomaly.
I do not. I do not.
I think I have Colonials 4.
But I have a few. I've picked up a couple of things that I thought were not related to Galactica at all, and they are.
Yeah, so, most of them have small
Sarah Roberts
pictures.
Thank you. Yeah,
I even got some of the risque ones. Believe it or not, there was some risque one.
Let's talk about these because this is all but gone, man. We're keeping it alive. Keep the faith, man. So
I just dug them out the other day. As a matter of fact, after moving, they're all over all of my thing over in the corner there. So if you actually over my right shoulder.
Oh, cool!
That whole box, can't get out of the camera's view.
Yep,
that
there
whole
it is.
Area right
Silver.
there. That's all.
Oh, fanzines! Oh my God, that's so cool. Very cool. Sarah Roberts is with us. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Chris, last words.
No, it was great to get some people with the comic bug in there as well. I mean, and I like it. It is all about fandom. It's all about inspiring. It's about, even if you don't get something, you don't become the millionaire that you think you're going to become. You still get those stories out there. You still get those pictures out there. You still get if you write those things. If you don't write those things, then you'll never get shared. You'll never get the opportunity to try it. So try it. Why not? I mean, we tried our hand at a fan film, and now we're extremely interested in making new films and writing different things. Yep. So, that has pushed us, and we learned from that. So it's pushed us to another level. I mean, that's the thing about it. You're only limited by yourself. So, if you want to write something, write something. If you want to draw something, draw something. If, that's the only way you're going to get the information out there and find other people that are interested and learn. Don't be afraid to learn. I think it's important that these two that we had on the night were fantastic, and they're they're been in the business for a little bit, but they're publishers, and now they're artists, and one's a story. One tells the story, one tells, it's great to have somebody like that on the show and have somebody that, you want to see success, and they're getting success. So that's the important thing. Fans through the fleet. They're fans of their own work, and they're fans of other work. Other people have inspired them to do what they're doing, and therefore they're doing it. They're not just sitting back going, "Yeah, that was cool." They're actually doing something. I think it's great. So here's to them.
Absolutely. Here's to them, and here's to the memory of Terry Carter. May his memory be eternal. Take care, everybody. All the best, and we'll see you again very soon. We get
back into broadcasting range next week. Don't forget, check out Buy Me a Coffee if you want to donate to the cause. You'll find us under Interfleet Broadcasting there. But until then, thank you so much for everything that you do. You fans are amazing, and we appreciate you being here. Fans for the fleet.
Thanks, guys. This is to you. Cheers.
We love you, Terry.